will be 40 minutes covering one aspect. The webinar for today is Microsoft Outlook using Calendar. My name is Geraldine Snee and I am the team admin for our team. I am the MC for our webinar today. The digital health team are Aisling Gannon, who is our general manager, Sinead McLaughlin and Gráinne McLaughlin are the digital health managers. Lisa Kelly is digital health support for the digital support for CDLMS, and then Kathy Burke and Nicola Burke are digital health support for Sligo, Leitrim and Donegal primary care areas. The aim of our webinars are to showcase the digital work across the CDLMS with views that this will help others who may be thinking about process in their pathways and that they would like to digitalise. We want to create a digitally enabled workforce using the tools we currently have. A few points from today's Microsoft Outlook webinar it has been recorded, and you'll see that we've been recording, and this will be available to view on our YouTube channel, and we will send you the link for this after the webinar. Please note that the video will only record the panel and not the audience members or the chat feed. For our audience attendees, we will note that your audio and video is turned off. Please keep your questions until the end of the webinar and we will answer them then. For any questions, post them in the message to the host in the chat box at the bottom right hand of the screen. Today's webinar, we're focusing on Microsoft Outlook using Calendar. Now we'll hand you over to Sinead.
Thanks everyone, and a warm welcome to you all to our webinar here today. Thank you, Geraldine. As she's already said, my name is Sinead Malloy and I'm the Digital Health Manager here in CDLMS. Both Aisling Gannon, our General Manager, and Gráinne McLaughlin send their apologies for today as they're unable to attend. The Digital Health team has been in existence here since November 2021 and it has grown since its inception. We are a small team who work with various departments, and a lot of my colleagues are on the call today with over 6,000 staff across the organisation. We work with primary care, disability services, HR, older person services, mental health, health and wellbeing, communications, quality and patient safety, the project management office, our nursing and midwifery practice development colleagues and the finance department. Our role is to advise, enable and lead on digital health projects across the community health organisation. While many ICT issues arrive in our office, any issues with IT need to use the Avanti route as your first port of call. However, if a resolution is not reached, our team is always here to help and advise on the next steps that you need to take. Digital health can play a huge role in predictive and proactive healthcare, and technology can be a key enabler to this. And with that in mind, one of the aims of our webinars today is to assist in creating an enabling workforce. So I want to thank my colleagues today, especially Kathy, Lisa, Geraldine and Nicola and Gráinne for their help in organising today. I'm not sure if many of you are aware, but we've had some issues with WebEx on the HSE nationally today, and it just came to a resolution there at 1:30. So there was a lot of sweat in the office today. So look, thanks very much for your patience and assistance on this. It hasn't been an easy task. I'll now hand you over to Kathy, and I just want to remind you for any of you that have joined late that our webinar has been recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, Sinead. So my name is Kathy Murtagh and my role is Digital Health Support for primary care in Sligo, Leitrim and South Donegal. So just to make you aware before we start that there is a webinar available in our catalogue online that touches in Outlook, specifically categorising emails, flagging, archiving emails and creating folders within Outlook. So if any want to have a look at that, you can pop a message in the chat and we can send a link to you. So one of the most frequently asked questions we get from the services is how can we use Calendar to make it work for our team? So today we're going to focus on Outlook using Calendar. There's such a vast amount of information out there on this topic, so we will only be scratching the surface. We will, however, endeavour to touch on the most utilised aspects of Outlook using Calendar that's used within our services and offer some handy tips that we come across in our learning. So just a quick brief on what Microsoft Office is. So, or Microsoft Outlook even, is a personal information management software system available as part of the 365 software suite of applications. So I'm sure you're all familiar with Outlook as our email manager, but as we move forward with the rollout of Health IRL migration, we're going to see ourselves getting more access to some of the newer apps within the 365 suite. So it's important that we can move forward with Outlook and see exactly what it has to offer. So what can Outlook do for you? Well, first and foremost, Outlook is our email manager, but within that, it has many capabilities. So with Outlook using Calendar, it allows you to schedule appointments, organize meetings, set reminders, and create tasks, and even allows you to view your colleagues' calendar and much, much more. Also, if you're on Microsoft Teams, it includes the Outlook add-in, which lets you create new Teams meetings directly from your Outlook. Also, you may have noticed if you're on WebEx that any webinar you sign up to will copy straight into your calendar. But how do we get the most of our calendar? So today we're going to take a look at calendar view, scheduling meetings, sharing and permissions, and how we can get the most of our calendar data by exporting to Excel. So what we're going to do now, from here, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to take you through some of the icons that we use in our Outlook calendar. Now, just to get access to the calendar when you go into your email, you're just going to click on the calendar icon here on the bottom screen. And now you can see my calendar. So I'm just going to talk you through just simply from the top left-hand corner. So the new appointment, this is very easy to use. So just click on new appointment, pop in the subject. So I'm going to say review. I'm just going to type review with line manager. Okay, because it's not a meeting going to, it's just an appointment for myself. Location in the office. And I'm going to put it in for Wednesday at 3:30 to 4. And that's all you do. And you press save and close. And if you look in your calendar, I can check on Wednesday and you can see that I have the appointment in from 3:30 to 4. Now, if you want to organize a meeting with a couple of members of staff, you can either go back into new appointment, or you can just click on new meeting. So what new meeting does, it populates everything that was in the new appointment, but you also have the two. So what I can do is I can add whoever I want to have in the meeting. So I'm going to add Lisa. And team review, location, I'm going to put in meeting room 5, and we'll say for Thursday. Sorry now. Thursday the 18th at 2:30 to 3:30. And you must hit send then, so Lisa's going to get the invitation. So now you can see I have my team meeting set up, meeting room 5, and what happens then is my colleague Lisa will get an email asking her, does she want to accept the meeting at that time. So that's simple as that. As I said, I mentioned Teams earlier on. If you have a Teams license and you have access to Teams, you can organize your Teams meeting from here, or you can do it from your calendar. Now, I'm not going to touch too much on Teams today because we have a Teams webinar in our series coming up, so you can check that out. It's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm just going to close that down, but it's the same principle to and from. The only thing is it gives you the link for the Teams meeting here. So I'm going to close that down. Now, if I have this review for the line manager, a question that we got asked recently is, can I copy this appointment and put it in to Friday as well? Instead of having to go in and set up a new appointment, can I just copy it over? And the answer is yes, you can. All you do is you hover over it and you hold your finger on control and you drag it to the day that you want it. So now I've dragged it to Friday. So I now have it on Wednesday, on Friday. You can do the same thing with a meeting as well, but there is a difference. If I press Control and drag the meeting over to Friday, you must click into the new meeting and send it to the colleague again, because they have only got the request for the initial meeting. So you must press send. So now Lisa has got her invite for the Thursday as well as the Friday. Another one is, can I have the same appointment in 2 calendars? So what happens is people might have a team event, you're organizing a meeting in your generic calendar, but you want to populate it in your own calendar. The answer to this is yes as well, but you must go into, I'm going to go into my generic calendar, which is my Digital Health CHO1 calendar. So this is a generic calendar we have for the whole team. So what you do is you go in and you can click on, we click on the 17th. Now, as I didn't mention before, you can actually just click on the calendar like this and go in, which is quite handy too. So if I have a team event, location, meeting room 3, and as you can see where I clicked on the calendar, it already has populated the date and the time. Now, all I do here is click copy to my calendar. Do you want to save your changes? Yes. And what happens is you'll get a pop-up that just, it's telling you that the generic calendar doesn't support reminders, but that's okay because you've set the, you've copied to my calendar, so the event is going to pop up in your own calendar and you get a reminder there. So I'm going to click yes. Now you can see that in the generic calendar, you have your team event, and it also populates in your own calendar. So it's only one action that you have to do instead of having to go back into your own calendar and do it again.
And Kathy, can you do that from your email, your calendar? Can you copy it into the generic, or they just?
No, you must. That's the one thing that you have to be clear of. You must set it up in the generic one first, and then copy to my calendar. Because if you're in your own one, you don't get the option to copy to another calendar. So you have to go from back to front. So digital to your own.
Perfect.
Okay. So the next one I'm going to show you is, I'm going to close this down so I can have my calendar open. So if I wanted to check available slots in my calendar, so say I wanted to check, if we go over here and we can see my calendar on the left hand side, if I wanted to check, say the 25th of May, the 30th, the 9th, the 13th, as you can see, they're dates that are all over the place. So instead of having to scroll down through everything, what I can do is I'm going to go to just the view tab and make sure I'm in my day view. And I'm going to click on the 19th, okay? And I'm going to hold my finger on control, and then I'm going to click the 24th, the 26th. You can pick as many random dates as you want. And as you can see, then it populates up in front of you. So now I have the 19th, the 24th, the 26th, the 6th. This is actually quite a handy tool. I know myself at the start, I was scrolling down through each month, so it's very handy to use this one. And then just to get back to today's date, then you're just going to click on the 15th. And you've probably seen that I changed my view here as well. What you can do is you can have your day view, which is obviously each day, and you can scroll back and forth this day. Also, you can change your view to your working week, which is Monday to Friday. And then you can have your week, Monday to Sunday, or your month. Now, it's really your preference what you like to do. I like to use my work week Monday to Friday. But if you wanted to have your month at a glance, you can do it that way.
And Kathy, just how you've got your calendar there, do you know, like you've got all the different colours coming in for your appointments? Would you just talk us through that?
Oh yeah, sure. So I have categorized each appointment. What this means, it means that it stands out at a glance. So I have all my training courses categorized as purple. I have my team meetings categorized as orange, and then I have everything that's on hold categorized in this color. So what you do is when you're setting up an appointment or a meeting, I'll just go in here again. So you put in your to and your from, but let me see, I'm going to put annual leave, because you can use your calendar as well for, it can be used for reminders. It doesn't have to be used for meetings all the time or appointments. You can have reminders in it as well. So I'm just going to put annual leave here, and I'm going to put I'm just going to put it this week so you can see, and it's an all-day event. So I'm going to click the box. Oh, sorry now.
So are you going to be able to show your annual leave across the whole calendar, Kathy? That's
Yeah,
the
I'm going to show. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to put annual leave here. Sorry, now I was in a meeting instead of an appointment. So I'm going to just put it in for this whole week. So the 15th to the 19th. Okay, and they're all day events. Now, the next step here is you go to categorize, select. Now, as you can see, I have all these populated already, but all you do is you go into all categories, you go new. I'm going to type in annual leave. I'm going to select a color. So we select orange. I don't think I have annual leave in there at the minute. So, okay, and press OK. Now you can see here the orange bar has popped up here, and I'm going to press close, save your changes. Yes. Now, can everyone see that? You have your annual leave popped up in orange there. This is quite handy for when teams use a generic calendar. So if you have a small team, I know some teams like to have, say, I might be orange, Lisa might be pink, Grania might be green. So for an overview, the manager can see, oh, Lisa's doing this today, Grania's doing this today. Alternatively, if you have quite a big number of people on the team, what they like to do is categorize on-site, off-site, annual leave, you know, instead of specifically for the staff member, they have it for the task. And this is actually handy when I'm going to show you how to export to Excel at the end of it. It populates all the events as well, so you're able to filter by category, which is very, very handy. So what I'm going to do now is I've gone through the view calendar. I'm going to go back to the home screen. Also as well, just to note, you can categorize your emails as well, and you can, there's another way of going about it. If you want to go to view settings and conditional formatting, here you can populate your courses and you can put in the colors as well, but that's just another way. But just to make it easier for yourself starting off, I would start off with the categorizing, because that pulls over to when you're exporting to Excel. So we're going to move on now to
Kathy, before you move on, can I just ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
I know sometimes when I'm on calls with people, and it's a Microsoft Teams meeting, and people will say, "God, the link came into my email and I accepted it, but it's disappeared." Can you just talk us through why that happens, and where does it go? All right, because I think a lot of people end up searching through their emails for the link to the meeting, where there's a way of searching, isn't there, in your calendar?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you get the notification in your email, if you accept an email, it actually clears from your inbox, but it saves in your calendar. So you don't have to worry about scrolling through your inbox. You'll always have it. It'll populate automatically in your calendar. You don't have to do that yourself.
Okay, so you enter the meeting via your calendar.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to, if I go back to my home tab here at the top, so we've gone through these few, and I've gone through the view of the calendar. Now we're going to go to sharing your calendar and calendar permissions. So if you look to the left-hand side here, you can see that I have a list of calendars. So these are all the calendars that my colleagues have shared with me. This is my team members. So I have access to their calendars. They have access to mine. I'm just going to show you. If I pick Lisa here, Lisa's calendar pops up here, and I can see all her appointments on it. I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to start from left to right, though, and go through here. So if I want to search for a person's calendar, you can actually search for anybody in the HSE if you like. Now, you're going to only be able to see if they're busy or free, but I'll just show you. If you go into Open Calendar, and in the search bar here, you can type in the person's name. Now, this person has given me permission to do this, so that's okay, Cyril. Okay, and you just double click on the name, pops up at the bottom here, and press OK. So now this is the difference between Cyril's calendar and Lisa's. So Lisa has actually given me permission to read and write her calendar, whereas Cyril, I only have view only access. So I can see if he's busy or free in these slots, but that's it. Now, if I wanted to be able to read his calendar a bit more and get more information, I can go to Share Calendar button here. You'll get a pop-up, so you populate the two. It already populates sharing invitation, which is okay. Then you get two boxes here: request permission to view recipient's calendar. Tick, because I want to view Cyril's calendar. Allow recipient to view your calendar. I've pressed tick. Then it gives you the option. I only want Cyril to see my available slots, so that will be the free and busy. You can also change it to limited details where he can see a bit more information, or full details where he has full access to my calendar. But I'm only going to share the availability one at the minute. Press send. You get a pop-up to say share this calendar. It's just to double check that you're sharing with the right person. Press OK. And now he's got an email to say that I've requested to see his calendar, and also that I have shared my calendar with him. Now, what you can do also.
Sorry, Kathy, where would you find his calendar then? Where would you find his calendar then if he shared it with you?
So once I have access to his calendar, you look over to the left-hand screen side and you can see it here. So now I have it here. So I can untick it. Yes, exactly, yeah. And sometimes I know you're meant to get an email notification to say that the person has shared their calendar. Sometimes this may not happen. I've come across it before, but all you do is go to open calendar and open shared calendar. And the person who shared that calendar, once you populate their name, it will pop up for you. Okay, so we'll go cancel and cancel. And actually, before I move on, I'm just going to show you if I show you Lisa's calendar here again, if I wanted to make an appointment for myself and Lisa, and I wasn't quite sure when the two of us are free, if I press the little arrow here, it joins the two calendars together. So now I can see all these free slots are free for both myself and Lisa, so I can organize an appointment for the both of us. Now you can do this with as many calendars if you want. I have 5 or 6 people here in the team, so I could join the 5 or 6 all together and see which is free. And then just to release it, then you just press the arrow back, and that's it. And we are going to go then to calendar groups. Not everyone uses this, but it's quite handy. I've set up a group for myself and Lisa and Nicola. So it just means if I want quick access to our 3 calendars, I'm just going to press the 3. 1 second. Okay, it should pop it. Yeah, there we go. When you press the 3, you get the 3 calendars popping up together. There's Nicola and myself. Okay. I'm just going to close them down, and that's me back to my own calendar again. You can email your calendar. So say if your manager wants to know, can I see your calendar for the last week in June, because they want to organize an event. So all you do is you go into your email calendar button, you go, this pops up here, you pick your date range. So specify dates, and I'm going to go into the last week in June, 26th to the 30th. Now I can also pick here if I want to pick availability only, limited details, or full details. I'm going to give the full details. All you do is you pop in, press OK. I'm going to pop in Sinead Molloy. It already populates the subject for you, and as you can see down here then, Sinead gets a view of my calendar from Monday the 26th of June to Friday the 30th.
But equally, if I had viewed your calendar shared with me, all I'd have to do is go down along the side of the icon, and I'll be able to see your calendar if you've given me full permissions. This is just another way of doing that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. If you're not using the shared calendars over here, this is another way of doing it. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just going to go send. So Sinead's going to get that notification now. And then And we're not, the next one then is publish online. We're not going to publish our calendar online, so that's it for shared calendars. I hope that was a bit informative for you. If you have any questions about the shared calendars, you can pop them in the chat and we can look at them at the end. Now, just before I move on to exporting to Excel, which I'd mentioned earlier, I'm just going to quickly go back to my view, and we're going to have a wee look. This is a handy tab that I came across before. So it's the to-do bar. If you click on the to-do bar and click calendar, it populates this month's calendar over on the right-hand side, but it actually populates what your meetings for today and the next couple of days. So just at a glance, you can see, oh, this is coming up, which I utilize a lot. It's a really handy tool to have. If you go back to the to-do bar, and the same for people, what it does is you can select, I'm just going to show you now. So you can have your favorites here. So I'm going to put in, now, when Ashlyn pops up here, instead of clicking it, I'm going to right click, add to favorite, and her name pops up. So what it does is it actually gives you an overview of what your colleagues are doing or your team members are doing. Are they online, offline? Are they busy or not? You know, instead of having to go back and see what they're doing, you just have it here on the corner of the screen. As well, you have in your to-do bar your tasks. So any tasks that you have populated in your emails should flag here. Now I have none at the minute. Thought I'd one, but it's done. No, I have none at the minute. So any tasks that are here, they'll pop up, and you can go into, let's see, you can flag them. You can clear them off as well. Yeah, so that's that one. So what I'm going to do is go back to my view. And if you don't want to see them, just unclick it. You can unclick the people here and they're gone. And I'm just going to leave my view here open. Now I'm going to move on to exporting to Excel. Now this is one that a few people actually like to use, and it's quite a handy tool to have. Excuse me. If you want to see at a glance in a list view of your team's meetings and their activity for the last month or the last week or whatever. So what you do is you go to view and you go to change view. So instead of looking at my calendar view, I want to see it in a list view. So I'm going to click list, and now I have all my calendar in a list. So if I want to export that to Excel, I'm going to copy the calendar, which I just press Control and A, right click on the mouse and copy, press copy. Now in the background, I have an Excel sheet open, just a blank Excel sheet. And you're going to right click or paste that into your sheet. Now, you can see it's a bit messy at the minute, so I want to put that into a table. You go to Insert, Table, and just make sure that you have My Table has headers clicked, because I have headers here, subject, location, start. Okay. Now that is it in a table. Yours will be a lot tidier because you'll have agreed your different names for your meetings. I have just every kind of meeting in here at the minute, but I just want to show you as well the thing. Do you remember when I showed you earlier about categorizing your meetings? Here's all my categories here, so I can pick annual leave and it just pops up. That was the one that I just selected today when I categorized it. So you can have your categories. You could have your categories of your staff. You could have your categories of training, on annual leave, all different things, and filter this way.
And Kathy, if people are doing that, if they're exporting it to get KPIs and using the categorization, is there a way of doing it for just a particular period of time as opposed to?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah, this one I know it takes. It does take the whole calendar, and it's probably not. I'm going to delete this one now. Sorry now. Some people don't want everything. You might only want, say, April. I'm just going to clear them filters and delete that. Yeah, so there's another way around that, actually. If I go back to my calendar and do the same step, your view, change view into your list, and you have your list. Now, instead of copy and paste it, you have to go to File, Export and Import. Sorry, open and export firstly. and then import, export. Okay, you're going to select export to a file, press next. You must select comma, separated values, next. Select folder to export from, I'm exporting my calendar, next. Now here you can pick where you want to save your calendar. So I'm going to go browse and I'm going to save it on my desktop just for today. It's not recommended to save anything on the desktop, but I'm just for today's purposes, I'm going to do it. So calendar export, and we have today's date, which is the 15th of the 5th. And then I press next, and it's at this stage then when I hit finish that it allows me to pick the dates. So if I pick the 1st of April to the 30th of April. Now, I don't know if you can see that on that screen, but I got a pop-up box here saying that it was exporting. So I'm just going to go back then and show you where it's saved to.
We didn't see that pop up. Just Kathy,
No,
just
okay, Grant. It was just a little pop-up showing the folder being exported across. So if you can see here, it's saved here, 15th. I'm going to double click, and you get the same. Then you're back to the last stage where I showed you. You're going to have to put it into a table format. So insert table, my table as headers, yes, and click OK, and then you have your then you can filter by that. So that's, I'm just going to show you then. I only have April here. You can see that. And that's exporting to Excel. Now I'm not going to save that, 1 second now. So look, you can play around with, close that down, sorry. You can play around with the calendar. It's like what works for our office mightn't work for your office. So all I can say is go in, have a look. There's so much to learn on it. There's so many handy little buttons. We've put together 5 quick tips for you as well. I would advise getting a generic email for your team. The generic email is really handy when you're categorizing appointments and you're categorizing team meetings, especially if you want to keep track of you know, what's going on and what the team are doing. The generic email is great, and you get the calendar with the generic email as well. Double clicking anywhere on your calendar to make the appointment. I think I showed you that already. Instead of having to go in and select new appointment or new meeting, all you do is you go down and double click on the date and the time, and it just populates the same. It's a quicker way of doing it. Arranging your appointments by color. You can, as I said, you can also do that in your emails as well. So say if you wanted to highlight your manager's emails in red, if you wanted to highlight your colleagues' emails in blue, you know, what you can do is the exact same thing as what I showed you in the calendar. You go to view settings and conditional formatting, and it lets you choose the font size. You can have big, small, black, pink, red, whatever. We all use that here in the team at the minute, and it's a good way of flagging emails. You can link your Outlook you can link your meeting, to OneNote. So if any of you have used Microsoft OneNotes before, it's a note-taking app on Microsoft Office. We do have a webinar coming up on it in a couple of months' time. But OneNote actually links you directly into your meeting, so you don't have to populate all the attendees. You just hit a button and it copies everything over for you. It's really, really handy. And then our last quick tip is when you're in your appointments, you can actually make, say if you had a personal appointment, you still wanted to put it in the generic calendar to tell your colleagues that you know you're going to be out or whatever, but you didn't want to give them the details of the meeting. You can actually hit private on the appointment. So in your calendar, you can see the details, but in your colleague's calendar, when you share it with them, it will come up as, I think it comes up as busy, or I'm not sure, Lisa, did you check that today?
Private appointment, yeah.
It comes up as private appointment. Okay, so yeah, so if you had if you had an appointment, even if you had a meeting with your manager and you didn't want people, you could just put it in as private, and then it comes up as private appointment.
And would you just show us how to do that, Kathy? Because I know there's quite a few people that don't know that the private button exists. Do you know on
yeah, sure. Oh, so I'm going to go back. So you can see I'm still in my list view here. So just to get back to your calendar, I'm going to go to change view and go back and hit my calendar. So now I'm back here. So when I just go back to home, if I'm creating a new appointment, so say I have a hospital, and it's on Friday. You can pick the time as well, so I'm going to say an hour and a half. Now, up on the right-hand side, I'm just going to, sorry now. Now, you can see private here. So if I click private, it puts a lock on it, and I'm going to press save and close. Okay, so on Friday, I have put hospital SUH, and I'm just going to open, oh, Lisa, I'll open your calendar just to show
sure.
that. Oh no, it would be your view, wouldn't it? It's not from
Yeah.
You'd have to share, yeah. So no, if Lisa opened her calendar from her side, all she would see is private. So that's it. So all you do is when you're setting your appointment, you just click in on the private button. So it's a nice handy wee one to use. I'm just going to go back to my other screen. So that's it. There's extra learning tools for Microsoft Office. You find them on the HSE website. If you actually go onto the National Service Desk, they have a new tile for MS Office Guides. It's down on the right-hand corner. And when you go into that, they have links to the Microsoft support, which I have up here too. So Microsoft support are great. Actually, anything you need to know about any of the Office apps, you can go in and get information on them there. That's it. I'd like to thank you everyone for listening to me today. I'm going to pass you over to Lisa and Nicola, who's going to facilitate the questions and answers.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Kathy.
You're welcome.
So we did have some questions that came in about using the calendar before the actual webinar. So we'll just go through those first. So the first question we had was, can we set up a series of appointments such as team meetings for every Monday, say, as opposed to going and putting them all in individually? Can you set it up as a series?
Yeah. We call that a recurrence. So say, as you can see here, Geraldine has our team meeting set up for Monday and Friday, but I'm going to show you how to do that there. If I go to new meeting, say I had a meeting every week. Now, so it's say I'm going to start it next Monday at 3 to 2:30. So as you can see up on the top here, you have a button called recurrence. So I'm going to hit recurrence and you get a pop-up. So I have the appointment made for 3 o'clock, half an hour. It's weekly. It's every week on a Monday, and I actually want to have it on a Wednesday as well. So every Monday and Wednesday. If I wanted it for every 2 weeks, I could put 2 weeks here, every 3 weeks. So, but I'm just going to do every week, Monday to Wednesday, and it's going to start here on Monday. Now, you see here occurrences. I can end the meeting after 10 occurrences, or if I want to have it indefinitely, I'll just untick this. Also, no end date. So now it's going to populate. Press OK. I'm going to send it to Nicola. Now it should pop up. Oh, sorry, starting from next week. I thought I'd done something wrong there. Now, there we are. Catch up Monday, Wednesday. If I go over to the next week, you can see Monday, Wednesday if I go over, and that will be every Monday and Wednesday until you decide to stop it.
Brilliant.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
And then another question that has come in saying that somebody has asked that they don't attend many meetings, so they won't be scheduling those on their calendar, but what else could they use their calendar for?
Oh yeah, well you can it's also a virtual diary as well. You know, it's not just a calendar, it's a virtual diary. I showed you about setting up the hospital appointment there. You can also set, like when you use your new appointment tab, I know it says appointment, but it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be necessarily an appointment with people. You could have, you could set up a recurrence for every Monday for reminding you to order stock. So if I, you know, if you were in charge of ordering stock for the office, I'm going to pop it in here, and you obviously set up your recurrence. Then if I set it for start time 9 o'clock, say you done it every Monday, or if you done the first Monday of every month, and say 15 every month, press OK.
You could also use it, Kathy, for, say, scheduling meetings with staff. Say if you wanted to have a meeting with your staff, an individual meeting, say for your, you know, the performance achievement, say once every 3 months or 6 months, you can actually, you know, make those meetings, you know what I mean, you know, as you go, basically, or you could set them up from the beginning as well, which I find really, really handy.
And then I got another question in, Kathy. When the teams are using a generic calendar as a virtual team diary, and say they're using it for service user appointments, what are the GDPR implications in entering service user information onto the calendar?
So our stance is, or our recommendation is, that you wouldn't use the generic calendar for storing any specific, you know, any identifiable information on patients.
Okay.
You can't record any PCN number or anything like that. Yeah. It's just not recommended by the HSE.
Okay. That's brilliant. That's lovely. So Nicola, over to you if anything's come into the chat.
Okay, we have a couple of questions here. The first one is there a limit on how many people you can share your calendar with?
There's no limit per se, but it's recommended that you only, do you remember when I showed you, I actually went through, I didn't go through, but I'm going to show you now the calendar permissions. So remember I showed you how to share your calendar with people. If you actually click into calendar permissions, you can see all the people that I've shared my calendar with at a glance here. But as you can see, you see all these people are editors of my calendar, which means they can change because they're on my close-knit team. But if you're sharing your calendar with a lot of people, you're not going to want to have 10, 20 people being able to edit your calendar and not knowing who did what. So the advice is just to have yourself as the owner, maybe have one editor, another editor on your calendar. But if you're sharing with a big group, just have free and busy time on it. That would be my advice. Shares to as many as you want, but make sure that their access is only this, you know, that they can't write in it, just for your own sake.
Okay, thanks Kathy for that. There's been a question that's come in just on the chat. Some people are having difficulty in sharing the calendar. Would you mind going through those steps again?
Oh yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go to share calendar, just here, this button. Okay, you're going to pop in the email of the person that you want to share it to. So just pick Lisa. I have Lisa shared already, but I'm just going to do it for now. These two buttons here. So request permission. If I want permission to view Lisa's calendar, apologies, click this one. And also if I want to share my calendar with Lisa, I'm going to go in here. I want to share my full details with her. So I'm going to click full details so she sees everything and press send. Now I will say, after you share the calendar, pop into your calendar permissions button, pop down here, and then you can see if I'm going to go into Lisa, Lisa is a reviewer. So Lisa can, if I click into Lisa, permission level reviewer, now I can see what permissions Lisa has. She has full details of my read. She has no write access, so she can't write anything in my calendar. She can't delete anything. But if I change her permission level. You can change anyone's permission level in here. If I change Lisa to editor, now you can see that Lisa can go in and create items in my calendar. She can edit items. So it's handy if you want somebody on your team to be able to pop in a meeting in your own calendar, you can do it. But always, I would advise anybody when you're sharing your calendar, just use this calendar permissions button to go in at a glance and see who has access. You can add people here, you can remove people. If I click add, it brings you to this, and you just pop in the name again like we showed you in at the very start in Open Calendar. But this this calendar permissions kind of gives you everything on the permissions, so you can't go wrong here. It gives you all the, you can go through and see the access. So just to, if you're unsure of anything, always go into your permission level and scroll down and just double check. And you can press apply.
That's great, Lisa. Thank you for that. There's
Okay.
a related question here, and it is just, can you see anyone's calendar in the HSE, or is it linked just by area or by the team that you're working in?
No, you can see if I go to Open Calendar from Address Book, you can see I have access to everybody that's set up on Outlook. Now, it doesn't mean that I can go in, like I can go in and pick someone and I'll just be able to see if they're busy. I'm not going to see full details. Obviously, they haven't shared, but anyone in the HSE can go in and can click on anybody and see their calendar. Yeah. Again, there's no full permissions there. They have to be shared.
Yeah, it'll only show if they're free or busy. All right,
Yeah.
and I suppose people need to bear in mind, not everybody, while people might have empty calendars, if you go looking at their calendar, that may be not the way they're recording things. They might be still using a pen and paper. But I suppose this gives you the opportunity to move away, to digitally transform, and to, because you'll always have a record of this, and you can go back over, you know, previous months or year to see what meetings you had and what they were about. So.
Okay, that's great. That concludes the questions on the chat at the minute, Sinead. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Kathy, Lisa and Nicola. I hope you've enjoyed this afternoon's session on Microsoft Outlook using Calendar. Our next webinar is on Microsoft Outlook and how to archive on the 15th of June 2023. On behalf of the Digital Health team, CHCD LMS, I would like to thank you for attending today's webinar. The webinar will be available on the link sent to you later today, if not tomorrow. Should you have any queries in regard to digital health, you can contact us on the digitalhealth.cho1@hse.ie. Thank you for attending and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.